Hey everyone, this is Chris from Marti Party Travel, and we are super excited to create the first video of what's going to be a series of video about a really cool trip that we just took. So we actually took this trip, just my wife and I, Meredith. It was her 30th birthday and I wanted to do it big, and so I told her to pick anywhere in the world she wanted to go, and Switzerland was the destination. And so what was cool about the Switzerland trip is I was able to curate this completely custom, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and trip to go to Switzerland and do some other things, which we're going to talk about in the video series, over 12 full days. So this is one of the longest trips we've ever taken, and it was exciting to do it. We missed the kids a ton, but we wanted to make sure that we had an amazing time for her birthday that was extremely memorable. So we're going to jump in and we're going to break this trip down by the day. We're going to do 12 different parts talking about the trip itself, highlights, and a little bit of like day by day of what we did. And then of course, we're going to bring it back and do some detailed reviews about some of the stuff we did along the way. So you catch anything that you like during the 12 videos, whether it's a hotel review, restaurant review, just general trip recommendations. We're gonna do a ton of delineated, kind of broken down videos talking about how we planned this thing, how we executed on this thing, and literally to the T followed the itinerary minus one little audible, which we will talk about in the series. So we're gonna jump right in with part one, and we're gonna talk about what that is and what we did right now. Again, my name is Chris from Marti Party Travel, and let's jump into Switzerland 2024. All right, so funny enough, part one, day one, August 5th, 2024, we're talking about Switzerland, but we're not talking about Switzerland because that is not where we're going today. So when we were booking the trip and we were kind of planning everything out, I used a lot of the websites that some of y'all might use, seats.aero or Wander or anything like that, to kind of find the best deals on points, the best deals on airline miles, kind of your credit card reward hacks. And we will cover a lot of how I personally do that stuff in a different video, make it easy to understand. We were able to use seats.aero on this trip to book our business class tickets out of New York, out of JFK Airport, going to Zurich, and where we were gonna be heading in a couple of days. And so we had to get to New York, and so August 5th was our New York layover day. So the way we did it was really cool. We live in the Austin area, Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Texas area, kind of central Texas. And so we took a very early flight, leaving at about 7 a.m., heading to New York City. One of the coolest things about kind of doing this, it's cool, maybe not cool for some people, is we fly Southwest a lot, and there is some clause with Southwest with the airport that they fly into LaGuardia that if you are more than X amount of 1,000 miles away, you cannot fly direct into LaGuardia. You have to have a connecting flight. So unfortunately, if you're flying Southwest to New York from our area, we had to do that. It was nice though, because I was able to get a flight where we didn't have to deplane. So even though we had to have that layover, which made it about a 5.5 hour flight altogether, travel time from Austin to LaGuardia, we were able to stay on the plane, which was nice because it was so early, super tired. I got to sleep the whole time. And so we got there to New York midday, about in middle of 12, right? 12:30. And then from there, I had to set up to take a cab into New York, into the downtown area, right? Kind of central, kind of midtown, I guess what you should say, right? Midtown of Manhattan, right? To go to the Harry Potter exhibit that was closing actually at the beginning of September. So it's probably about closed now, but it was the last couple of weeks that the Harry Potter exhibit was in New York City. So it was really cool to do that. First things first, talking about this, obviously we're going to Switzerland. What did we do with our luggage? It's a really cool thing. If you don't know, there are stores that essentially have luggage storage services. So there's different websites online, you can Google and check them out. So there's actually services in a website that does luggage storage. We use a website called Radical Storage. They've got some good reviews, check it out. And so there's different shopkeepers and different businesses around the New York City area, and most major cities actually in the world, where essentially you can pay at a time, they will reserve space for your bags. And so since we had our bags and we weren't taking a later on flight, till a later flight, I should say, we use the Radical Storage luggage service. If you're wondering, Chris, why didn't you just check them at the airport? We were flying out of JFK, we came into LaGuardia, so I needed a place to store the bags. It was super economical. I spent less than $30 and they held them all day, not too far from where I was at, which is also good because if I needed to go back for something, they were there and not at the airport over an hour away. So jumping right in, exhibition Harry Potter, getting right to that. It was pretty cool. We've actually been to the set of London, or just north of London, I should say, where they actually film the sound stages that they used to film the movie. So we have seen the actual true Harry Potter studio tour, which is one of a kind, amazing. We will definitely do a separate video covering that from a London trip we took a couple years ago. But the exhibition was really cool. It was very interactive, so we were able to get kind of the VIP lanyard, let us kind of go to the front of the line. And then they had different costumes and different set pieces from the movies as well that they had brought in, and they had actual movie worn costumes, outfits, and interactive exhibit the whole way through. It was a great time. If you've never been before, very easily spent 2 hours there. We, again, having been to the London, UK set tour there, we kind of blew through it, and again, we were only kind of on a lay hour, so a lot of cool stuff to see though. A lot of great merchandise at the end. They were unfortunately only accepting cash only at the time, and I didn't have cash, so I wasn't able to get anything, but still pretty cool exhibition. And again, being in New York City, really nice just location and opportunity from there. So that's what we did in our midday. Again, here's kind of all the footage you can see of what that looked like. Right down the road from the Empire State Building is where this was located. And so then from there, we had an amazing restaurant dinner reservation book. I use OpenTable for everything in the US. Covers a lot of different dining establishments here in the States. In OpenTable, we were able to get a reservation for a restaurant called Kalari Tavern. Another trip that we took, if you can see the art behind me, was to Greece a couple years back. So I thought, what a perfect way to kick off our European trip with a trip to Kalari Tavern, this amazing Greek restaurant here in New York City. So we had reservations booked. We were able to come to dinner pretty early. We had about a 5:30 to 6 o'clock reservation booked before something that, again, we're gonna get to in a second, a play. So one of the reasons that we went kind of quickly through the Harry Potter exhibition is we actually had to do a quick early reservation at Kalari Tavern. We had a 5 o'clock reservation. Again, came into the city about 12:30, took the taxi ride. We were in Manhattan about 1:30 without not too much traffic, thankfully, because it was Monday, middle of the day. And then we were at the Harry Potter exhibition, and we had to leave there to make it to Kalari Tavern by 5 o'clock. And so Kalari Tavern's located near Times Square. It's near the theater district, so spoiler alert, that's why we had the early reservation, is it was a perfect place and a perfect location that was walkable to a lot of the theaters where they have their Broadway plays, which coming up, we will talk about the one that we went and saw. So here at Kalari, it was great, real authentic food. We'll do a completely standalone review on this restaurant and kind of what they had to offer in depth. But if you like Greek food in New York City, I highly recommend. It looked like a lot of people were coming in after work. We started seeing people as it got later coming in with business attire. A couple business meetings were happening there. So definitely more on the mid to higher end of a restaurant, but it looked like something that was really nice for meetings. And again, really close to Times Square and the theater district. And then from there, we had to hurry because we had reservations for The Great Gatsby. So we were in Manhattan on a Monday. Most Broadway plays do not perform on Monday. And so Great Gatsby is one of the only ones that had availability, but man, it was worth it. We actually did directions wrong, almost went to the wrong place, but we finally made it to the correct theater right before, about 5-6 minutes before showtime, and it was awesome. If you've not gotten a chance to see The Great Gatsby, and no spoilers, but man, it was incredible. We didn't even get to see the entire main cast. There were some people that had their understudies performing, but man, let me tell you all about Jeremy Jordan. That man killed it. He's an amazing Gatsby. And again, I'm sure he's good in anything that he's in, but it was really, really fun and incredible to see that play. So I didn't record any footage, of course, in the theater. I didn't want to get kicked out. They have the kind of the strict no recording policy, no camera, things like that. And I had my GoPro in my pocket since my bags were back at the luggage storage. So I didn't want anyone to see it and tell me to get out or throw it away or something like that. So didn't record anything inside, but great theater, great opportunity to see a cool show. And we did get some awesome merch as well. And so yes, we are still on this layover, guys. We've done all of this on the layover, no hotel room booked. We finished the play and then we head right outside immediately as they're taking their final bow, and we catch a pedicab. This was super cool, very expensive. You don't realize how far things are in New York City. So when they tell you it's $4 a minute or $5 a minute or whatever, you're thinking it's not a big deal. But 20 minutes later, you were spending a ton of money. I spent over $100 on this pedicab to go from where we were, because we had walked quite a bit all day from the Harry Potter exhibition over to the theater. By that point, we had done it kind of in stages, but walking to dinner and then from dinner to the theater. But it was still cool, riding a pedicab through Times Square, getting that kind of, again, really cool New York experience. Very fast, very rapid, but we headed back to our Radical storage location to pick up those bags. And then, believe it or not, we headed straight to the airport. The flight that we were taking from JFK to Zurich, well, actually, should back up. The flight we were taking from JFK with a layover in Charles de Gaulle, spoiler alert for the next video, was leaving at 1 a.m. Eastern time. So it was really perfect for us to be able to come in early, We slept on the plane a little bit on the Southwest plane, spent that whole day on New York, got to the airport at JFK. We were able to change, freshen up a little bit, visit the Air France lounge, which really helps because they have showers and different things like that to keep the party going if you're flying either on premium economy or above with Air France. And we were able to get settled in, visit the lounge at JFK, have a great time, relax, unwind with some spirits and some of the great food that they serve in the lounge. If you've never been to this lounge, it was really good options for champagne, of course, different cold cuts, meats and cheeses, some hot items as well, some French specific kind of hot items that were on the buffet. And it's actually 2 stories, Terminal 1. So it's got the upper floor for the Air France lounge and the lower floor for the Air France lounge. So really nice opportunity there to visit if you haven't had a chance to. And so again, after doing all this all day long, we got there, we got to relax, have a couple beers, and enjoy the lounge. Again, we'll do kind of a more detailed view of what the lounge looked like and our experience there on a separate video. And then from there, we headed to our gate to start day 2. So we actually flew business on Air France overnight, leaving at 1 a.m. kind of Eastern time. And we were gonna be arriving in Paris the next day at about the same time, about 12:30 to 1 o'clock, so about 12 hours later, but about an 8-hour flight. So that's it for this video, guys. We're gonna talk about day 2 tomorrow, which again is at Paris, Charles de Gaulle, of what we did all day long on our second layover before we even made it to Switzerland. This was a really cool trip and we squeezed a lot in there. So if you want some booking advice on how I was able to kind of put all this together, searching different flight times, getting the best deal, flying points over the pond to Paris, and of course, just getting so much into a really cool New York layover day, feel free to leave comments below. I will go through, answer all the questions the best I can, tell you how to get the best opportunity and deals on some of this stuff. But yeah, that is everything that we did on our first day, kind of a quick trip review here. So check out part 2 that will be coming for Paris, our Paris date, and what we did before we made it to Switzerland. As always, guys, please like and subscribe. It allows us to keep doing this and keep covering an amazing trip that we were able to take here, plus all the other trips that we're gonna cover on this channel. As always, guys, my name is Chris with Marti Party Travel, and we'll catch you next time.